All right, check one. 1, 2. Is this up a little high? 1, 2. That seems what? Well, what if I'm talking like this? Oh, that mic's wrong. 1, 2. What? The voice is still bad. The voice is still bad. 1, 2. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gonna be. Sorry, guys. Just a little bit of a behind the scenes snafu as we get started here. Welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Moran. I do this every Monday through Friday, round about this time. What is this time? 2 p.m. Central. That's how we've been doing it lately. The voice is gone. I don't know what to do here. I think I might have to take a couple days off, but I can't do that with the Diddy shit. God. I'm so sorry. I'm going to be hitting the mute button from time to time today, as I was yesterday because I need to clear the throat. This sucks. Hi, Taronda. Taronda's in the chat room. Man. So how are we? How are we today? Welcome in. It is the rant. I'm Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios. We do this every day, as I said, round about this time. It is talk radio for normal people. That's right. Talk radio for normal people. That's all. It's an easy description. Are you weird? Okay, you're probably not going to like this. If you're normal, you're probably going to be fine. So just come in the chat room and hang out. What do we do here? We talk current events, hot topics, trends, whatever it is that's happening. I do a talk show. I do a talk show that is not dependent upon any singular political partisan viewpoint. No, those coughs are irritating. Okay. We do the show as a stream of consciousness. It's just me. I just kind of think whatever's in my mind, I say it. No breaks, no commercials, no songs, just me and my next thought. Now, in order to maintain this sort of flow, I've broken the show, the presentation down into 4 segments. First one we call Antecedently on This Day. It's this day in history. Don't overthink it. 2 is birthdays. It's birthdays. Don't overthink it. 3 is deads. All right, let's have a conversation about this one. Deads, people who died on this day. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? There you go. That one I'm going to want you to think about a little. And then quarter 4, segment 4, those are all the hot topics and trends and just things that are on my mind. Here's something that's on my mind. I just had an experience at the 7-Eleven that I'm not proud to say. It's not the first time this has happened, but it's the first time that I noticed it, and I wanted to make mention of it. So, as you can tell, if you're watching here on the YouTube or the Facebook, I'm a middle-aged white guy. Hi, everybody. I mean, you know, I know what the deal is with us middle-aged white guys in 2025. I get it. You know, shut up, be quiet. That's fine. I'm fine. Honestly, you have no idea how fine I am with that. However, on occasion, I think I forget that I'm a middle-aged white guy. And I'm wondering, see, listen to this. Listen to the voice go. That is really irritating. So sometimes as a middle-aged white guy, I think I suffer from what people derisively call it as white guilt, right? We're supposed to be like, don't have white guilt. I don't know what white guilt is. I think the definition of white guilt depends on the person who's saying it. White guilt is, I mean, I see white guilt as just like an understanding, especially as an American, just an understanding that, you know, things weren't the same for, you know, the way my people came here in the way maybe black people. So I don't know. I don't know what white guilt is. I'll tell you honestly, I always thought white guilt was when you laugh at something a black guy says and it's not funny. You ever seen that? You ever seen like a black guy hanging out with a bunch of white guys? That black guy is going to be the funniest guy at the party. Even if nothing he says makes sense. Every white guy is like, we're hanging out with Eddie Murphy. We're going to go dancing next. I don't know. I always thought that was white guilt. Where you're like, I had a friend named Chuck growing up, and Chuck was black. And Chuck was really, not only was he black, but Chuck was really big. Like he was all roided out. He was like all 80s roided out. And he was like 6'5". He was a gigantic, scary dude. But he wasn't scary. He was actually a really nice guy. And he fancied himself a comedian. And whenever I brought Chuck around my white friends, Chuck would like, he'd start telling jokes and he wouldn't stop telling jokes because everybody laughed at everything he said. And I'm like, Chuck, you're not funny. He's not funny. Why? That's not funny. You're only laughing because he's black. So that's kind of what I always understood white guilt to be. When you laugh at an unfunny black comedian because they're black. But I had a different variation of it today. And I think this might be a part of it too. So did you ever have that thing where you're a white middle-aged guy and you suddenly find yourself in a conversation with a younger black guy and all of a sudden you start talking like a younger black guy? That's me. That was me. Yeah. This guy, I was wearing a White Sox hat this morning. And I was walking out of the 7-Eleven and this black dude got out of this City of Dallas truck. He was a City of Dallas worker. He's a black dude. He's probably in his late 20s. He seemed cool. Like he had a cool haircut and stuff. Like he seemed cool. Cooler than me. I'm a middle-aged white guy coming out of the 7-Eleven. And he made a mention about my White Sox hat. And at first, because, I'm in a part of town that, you gotta, I'm a soft white guy, right? So first, this strange black guy is talking to me and he's not looking for money because he's coming out of a city truck. He's a working man, but he's talking to me, and I don't know how to respond. Is he mad at me? No, he can't be mad at me. He just climbed out of a City of Dallas truck. Those guys are on their best behavior. Those are good jobs. You don't want a civilian going, hey, your guy got out of the truck and started yelling at me. But the way he approached me, I could tell almost immediately that this wasn't aggressive, that this was kind of friendly. There was no smile. But what was said to me was, yo, man, straight be fucking with that South Side, right? That's all I heard. Yo, man, straight be fucking with that South Side. And I'm like, what? What did this guy just say to me? I'm like, I'm totally random. I didn't expect to have a conversation with somebody like him. And by him, I mean a 25-year-old black city worker. I didn't think I don't know what is the context of this conversation I'm in. And it's not aggressive. But it sounds aggressive, but he doesn't look like he's being aggressive. And then he goes, White Sox, man. And I go, oh, yeah. And then, I don't know how I responded, but the way I responded as I was walking away, I went, oh, shit, that was phony. I suddenly became, yo, man, that's right. I be fucking with that South Side. I turned into that guy. So there you go. That's white guilt, right? That's kind of a white guilt thing where we feel we got to change who we are just to sort of, connect with somebody. Anyway, that's today in being a middle-aged white guy. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. We got stuff we got to get into here. Let's start the show. What do you say? I'm so sorry about my throat. I'm really working hard here. Welcome in. It is the Rant. It is the 22nd day of May, year of our Lord, 2025. Did you know that May the 22nd is the 142nd day of the year? Did you know? 233 more of these remain until the end of the year. Don't forget, big day today happening on the stand there at the Diddy trial. Diddy or didn't he? My nightly recap of all the things that are going down inside that Manhattan courtroom where Sean Diddy Combs is on trial for his life. Literally, they're looking for big things happen today, man. Kid Cudi came up there. We've been waiting to hear from Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi came up there and he was supposed to be a hand grenade for the prosecution. I don't know, man. We'll talk about that. I'll cover a little of that today when we get into the rundown of things people are talking about. But I'm going to go deep. I'll break that all down. Kid Cudi's testimony today on Diddy or Didn't He on Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com. Hi, Mikey D. Mikey D says howdy. I can say howdy back. Let's see here. Let's get into antecedently on this day. These are the events that have helped shape our understanding of what this day actually is. You can call it this day in history or maybe previously on May the 22nd. Here we go. Antecedently on this day, 1849. Oh, here's an interesting one. Fun fact. Trivia, maybe. I do trivia on Tuesday night at the Back Nine in Addison. This might be a trivia question. Future U.S. President Abraham Lincoln on this day in 1849. He's issued a patent for an invention that lifts boats, making him the only U.S. president to ever hold a patent. Hey, Honest Abe, he's an inventor. He lifts all souls and boats. That's what future President Abraham Lincoln did on this day in 1849. On this day in 1856, I make mention of this every year. I like to commemorate this event because it's such a fucking bizarre event. This occurred in the United States Congress on this day in 1856. Congressman Preston Brooks of South Carolina severely beats Senator Charles Sumner of Massachusetts with a cane. Right there in the hallway there where they have the statues there. This congressman just beat the fuck out of a senator with a cane. This is the ramp up to the Civil War. Tensions were high. So again, another indication of whenever Trump or one of his cronies does something that seems like it's completely outside the bounds of what's reasonable, and somebody says, in the history of the America, this has never happened. Just remember that Congress once had a congressman beat the fuck out of a senator with a cane. I think the dude died from his injuries. Eventually. I'm not sure. That was on this day in 1856. On this day in 1872, the Reconstruction era. We had to reconstruct the South after the Civil War. President Grant signs the Amnesty Act into law. What was the Amnesty Act? Well, it restored full civil and political rights to all but 500 Confederates. Who were the 500? Like, what was that list? What was the list of the 500 Confederates that crossed the line? You know, we'll let everybody else in, but not you 500. That was on this day in 1872. On this day in 1906, the Wright brothers are granted a U.S. patent number 821393, for their flying machine. Flying machine. That's what the patent is for. It's not an airplane. It wasn't called an airplane until much later. Back in 1906, on this day, it was simply a flying machine. On this day in 1964, United States President Lyndon Baines Johnson launches his Great Society program, the Great Society program. It was a series of bills, civil rights bills, and all kinds of bills, the Great Society. Lyndon Johnson. All right, let's move on to birthdays. These are people born on this day. Let's decide whether or not we like them and wish them a happy birthday, or we're going to tell them to go kick rocks. Bonum, bonum, bonum. They say it's their birthday. Born on this day, or at least they claim, 1942, the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski was born on this day in 1942 in the same hospital that I would be born in years later. Shout out Little Company of Mary. Ted Kaczynski, born on this day in 1942. Born on this day in 1943. Wait, I was born in a hospital that was like already open in the 40s? I didn't realize I was born in an old-timey hospital. I assumed I was born in like a, nope, all right, yeah, old-timey hospital it is. Born on this day in 1943, a very good baseball player. Not a great player, a good pitcher. He is probably next to Cy Young, the best-known pitcher in all of baseball history. You got Cy Young, and you got Tommy John. Tommy John, born on this day in 1943. Tommy John, of course, was the first baseball pitcher to have his career extended by having a surgery that would then be named after him. So whenever our baseball pitchers get laid up for 18 months, we have Tommy John to thank. Tommy John. Tommy John surgery, I remember when it first started because it really was a breakthrough. Sorry about that. Got to clear the throat. It really was a breakthrough. And now we're like 30 years into Tommy John surgery being perfected. I'm telling you, players come back better. Pitchers come back better with better arms. Tommy John's a miracle. Give him a little robot arm. Born on this day in 1943, Tommy John. All right, now here's a couple. Final two in the birthdays that we'll mention. These are two dudes who have a lot in common in that they were instrumental in something that made somebody else way more famous. Way more famous. Born on this day in 1950, the great, the iconic, the legendary Bernie Taupin. Who's Bernie Taupin? You all are probably. Bernie Taupin is Elton John's writing partner. So everything that Elton John is famous for, all of those beautiful lyrics that made you cry, that's Bernie Taupin. Elton does the music. Elton writes the music. Bernie writes the poetry. All those incredible lyrics from those Elton John songs. Those are not Elton John. Those are Bernie Taupin. Born on this day in 1950. Here's a second, okay? Another guy who was instrumental in something that made another person super famous. Born on this day in 1984, American entrepreneur and co-founder of Facebook, Dustin Moskowitz. We all know Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg had a partner, Dustin Moskowitz. He's the John Oates of tech. He's the Andrew Ridgeley of social media. All right, that's going to do it. Those are your birthdays. Ted Kaczynski, Tommy John, Bernie Taupin, and Dustin Moskowitz. Let's move into the deads. These are people who died on this day. Let's decide whether or not they went to heaven or did they go to hell. How do we do this? Well, we just kind of talk a little bit about who these people were and what they probably were in their time. Here we go. Dead on this day in 1990. Somebody up there likes me. Rocky Graziano. The great Rocky Graziano, middleweight boxing champion. Rocky Graziano, the movie. Somebody up there likes me. One of the great boxing movies. Made in, I want to say, early 60s. Starred Paul Newman as Rocky Graziano, the middleweight fighter. He was very corrupt. He was all mobbed up. He was a 100% mobbed up fighter back in the era where the mob controlled who got the shot at the title and who took a dive and all of that kind of stuff. He was gregarious. He was very well liked. He was Mr. TV, Mr. Charming, but he was involved with the mob and he was a shady boxer, although one of the greats. He's considered one of the 20 greatest knockout artists in the history of boxing. And that's pound for pound. That's not just weight division. Rocky Graziano, they were going to put him in hell. Somebody up there likes me, but not enough to put you in heaven. Nope. Rocky Graziano, dead on this day in 1990. Dead on this day in 1998, John Derek. Hell. John Derek's going to hell. I don't get John Derek. I don't get how John Derek was allowed to be like a generic Hugh Hefner for all these years with absolutely no success. I mean, some success, but not the kind of success that John Derek was a photographer in Hollywood in the 1960s who fashioned himself like a ladies' man, a raconteur, a bon vivant. So he ended up segueing from being a photographer to being a director. And he started making all of these weird sort of counterculture movies that nobody saw. But that's all he was famous for. I mean, and he wasn't even famous. He didn't have successful movies. Here's what he was famous for. Hot chicks. This dude had a string of hot chicks for a guy that wasn't famous, that nobody understood. Of course, John Derek, Bo Derek, was probably the last one that he was famous for. Found Bo Derek. Bo Derek was a 17-year-old stoner high school dropout surfer girl. And John Derek was 25 years older than her. It's just walking down the beach and he sees Bo Derek and he goes, yep, gonna make you a star. And he did. Before her, he had Linda Evans. You ever seen Linda Evans and Bo Derek side by side? They look like twins. John Derek absolutely had a taste. But he's going to hell. He's going to hell. He had to have been like a sex perv. You're telling me John Derek never drugged a woman? It was the 60s and the 70s. John Derek drugged women. Although I don't think he had to, because that's the other thing about him. He was really good looking. He was a really good looking guy. Anyway, John Derek, you're going to hell. Everybody's going to hell. Rocky Graziano goes to hell. John Derek goes to hell. Why? Jealousy. That's why John Derek's in hell. I'm not entirely sure why I put Rocky Graz there, but John Derek is definitely jealousy. Let's see. Adam Reyna. What did he just say? Oh, he's talking about Moskowitz. He's like, he's a billionaire. He doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. I bet he does. I bet it does matter. I bet it does matter. All things being equal, money not being an issue. I bet the fact that people know Zuck way more than Moskowitz, I think Moscow, especially when Moskowitz is trying to get a table at a crowded restaurant, I bet it does. I bet on some level, it kind of irritates Dustin. Just saying. Same with Bernie Taupin. I bet you it fucking irritates Bernie Taupin. Bernie Taupin, man, he's just standing there waiting for his name to be called at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever it is they go. Not Elton John. Elton John rents the whole place out. They get rid of everybody for Elton John, but not Bernie Taupin. Not so. I'm telling you, Adam, I know that, money being this great equalizer in a lot of our minds, I don't think when money's an issue anymore, it becomes the equalizer we think it is. I think you start to get competitive over other things, other weird things. like I don't know, Zuckerberg being way more famous. Anyway, it's an interesting conversation, I suppose. All right, let's see here. So I'm trying to see, but what is anybody else saying? I don't know what Jeff's talking about. Uncle Ted. I don't know what he's talking about. Leslie C says, Pugs, I'm really enjoying Diddy or Didn't. Thank you, Leslie. That means a lot to me because I am really working hard on that. I put a lot of time into that and I am really enjoying doing it. And, when you do stuff like that you enjoy, that you aren't just doing because you're hoping, maybe we can get some advertising or something, that whole thing. When you're just doing something because you're like, oh no, I'm into this and I want to do it. And then somebody like Leslie says it's good. It means a lot. It really does. So thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Man, I hate my voice right now. All right, let's get started. We've got a lot of stuff we got to get into here. A lot of stuff happening in the world. San Diego had a plane crash this morning. Don't worry. It's not one of these Doge, Newark, air traffic, planes fall. Maybe. I mean, we don't know why it crashed, but this seems like a plane crash. Planes crash. They shouldn't, because it was on this day like 200 years ago that we got the patent for the first flying machine, and still they're falling out of the sky, but okay. So in San Diego this morning, a private business jet about 4 o'clock in the morning woke up an entire neighborhood when it crashed into military housing. The largest military housing neighborhood in the nation. So it's a neighborhood where everybody that lives there, is a part of the military community of San Diego, which, if you know anything about San Diego, is quite significant. I mean, that is a military. So when I say military housing, don't imagine World War II style family barracks. It's a neighborhood. It's a nice suburban neighborhood, but it is all military personnel who live there. You have to be a member, I guess. I don't know, whatever. So about 4 o'clock in the morning, a business jet that was landing at the airport there, just about half a mile from this neighborhood, went down into a house. 15 houses were damaged severely. Fire spread throughout the neighborhood. Shockingly, casualties on the ground for something that happened at 4 in the morning. It's 4 in the morning. Everybody's in bed. Everybody's home. The kids aren't in school. Everybody's home. Everybody's in their bed. The neighborhood is as full at 4 in the morning of souls as it's ever going to be. And we don't have the full numbers. People were taken to the hospital on the ground. It doesn't seem like it's all that serious. Smoke inhalation, jet fuel. Some injuries were sustained from people in houses when they were escaping. But we do not, it looks pretty. There's a reason to be optimistic about people on the ground that are dead. There's a reason to be optimistic about that number. Right now, I don't know that they have any that are, from being on the ground. The people in the plane are deceased. So the people that were in the plane are deceased. They don't know how many. They say this plane carries between 8 and 10, but as of the last time that I checked in on this story, they did not have a number or a manifest of the people who are on this plane. The plane originated earlier in the day in Teterboro, which is in New Jersey, stopped in Wichita, and then from Wichita, Kansas, it went on to San Diego where it crashed into the neighborhood. So that's all we have it. That's all we have on it right now. But I'm sure we'll be hearing more throughout the day. Plane crash in San Diego, military community, 15 houses burned. Looks like we don't have numbers of people on the ground, but it looks like those numbers might be low, might be good, might be none. So fingers crossed. Also, the big story from last night, 2 Israeli embassy staffers were killed in D.C. last night. They were attending a function at the Jewish Heritage Museum. there in Washington, D.C. when they came out, when the show ends and people spill out into the streets. Some fuck job pulled a gun and killed these two people. 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez has been charged with the crime. 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago traveled to Washington, D.C. from Chicago. He's a little shit stir. He's been active in protests and all of that. Not on the police radar. Never been arrested, or at least as of the briefing this afternoon. They didn't have anything on him like that. But he has given interviews at protests in the past. I think he fancies himself a bit of a leader, a bit of a thought leader among his generation of little misguided miscreants, which is what they all are. Seriously, imagine the delusion. Imagine the delusion you must be under to think that killing two beautiful young people in the prime of their life at random, simply for exiting a Jewish museum. Imagine being under the delusion that you believe you taking this action is what the world needs. That's insanity. That is somebody who is insane. That is somebody who you can have these beliefs. 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez was absolutely one of these Free Palestine dudes. There's video. We'll see video of him as they're taking him in. He's like, Free Palestine, Free Palestine. He's chanting like he thinks there's a crowd of people that are going to be chanting with him as he's dragged in. And nobody is saying anything because everybody is horrified at the level of fucking delusion in this kid. Yaron Lachinsky, 30 years old, and Sarah Milgram, an American, I believe she's 25. They were killed. Yaron, here's the interesting thing, and I want to get into this too, why this is interesting to me. Yaron Lachinsky, the 30-year-old attaché to an Israeli diplomat who was killed, isn't even Jewish. He's Christian. He's a Christian-born German whose family moved to Israel, and he has dedicated his life to the Israeli state. He's not Jewish. He is a practicing Christian. Why is this important? Because I am seeing, you know how I hate when people conflate things. You know how angry it got me when James Parker of WBAP conflates Diddy white parties with Diddy freak-offs. They're two completely different things, okay? I hate when we conflate things. There seems to be a conflation, more so today in the wake of the incident last night at the Jewish Heritage Museum in D.C. More so today, but it has been kind of building and it's been kind of bothering me. And that is the idea that to be upset with the political positions of the state of Israel is the same thing as being anti-Jewish or anti-Semitic. They are not the same things. I'm hearing people talking about how, this is another example of the rise of anti-Semitism. They were killed because they were Jewish. Well, one of them wasn't even Jewish. Okay. He was a Christian who was killed because of his actions on behalf of the state of Israel. That's why these two people are dead. This guy thought they were. And in the case of Yaron Lachinsky, there is a separation. He is an Israeli patriot who believes in the actions of the government of Israel, but he is not Jewish. So anti-Semitism does not apply to him. What applies to him, if you're going to be angry at the now dead 30-year-old Yaron Lachinsky, you're going to be angry at him if you're Elias Rodriguez. You're angry at him because of his support for the Israeli government. But this conflation that, if you're against what the Israeli government is doing, then you hate Jews, has to stop. That's unfair. I understand, look, it's like if you're a Jew in Israel and you support the government actions of Netanyahu and you support this version of the Knesset, which is the Israeli Congress, if you support these actions, wait, hold on, because now I'm confused. Anyway, my point is this. I think that you can be against the politics of Israel here in the moment and not be a Jew hater and not be a Nazi. And everybody who has a problem with Netanyahu's politics and his military campaign in Gaza is not anti-Jewish. And I just wanted to get that off my... We're anti what appears to be a really big, powerful country kicking the shit out of a bunch of poor people. That's what people are angry about. But to say that, no, it's about hating Jews, that's unfair. And it's a dodge. And it makes the people who are speaking... All right, so I'm going to tell you who said this. The Israeli ambassador to the United States was on TV today talking about how these examples of anti-Semitism, and I'm like, this is not an example of someone who necessarily hates Jews. It's an example of somebody who hates what's happening in Gaza. And we need to start making that distinction. And it doesn't seem like anybody is interested in doing it. It's if you believe that the Israelis have been a little bit harsh and they should stop the bombing in Gaza, if you believe that, you believe it because you hate Jewish people and think that they're like, scum of the earth. That's not true. It's just not true. You can be against the politics of Netanyahu in Israel and not be anti-Jewish. Anyway, I don't know if this guy is obviously anti-Israeli and he's very pro-Palestinian. So let's watch this guy. Here he is being let in. This is that moment of delusion that I told you about a couple of minutes earlier. He's being pulled in to police headquarters, and he seems to believe... There we go. Wait a second. Well, you see it as good as I do. It ain't downloading. Let's try that again. Oh boy. Sorry. Twitter's going to give me trouble today, huh? What the fuck? Hey, seriously, what is going on here? I really wanted to show this video because it's kind of so weird. It's such a window into this person's level of delusion. Hold on, I gotta get rid of Leslie. Leslie's up there. Leslie C been up there for about a week now. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Twitter, so I guess I'm not going to be able to show that to you. Seriously, what the fuck? Why can't... There it is. All right, sorry, Leslie. There you go. You were up there way too long, and I forgot about you and all that good stuff. Let's try this again. All right. There we go. Let's see if I can't get Twitter to work this time. Something went wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Sure. You just work at your own pace. All right, here we go. So this is a little nut job. He's being let in. All right, here. Okay, so let me show you this. All right, so he's being led into police headquarters. The press are being kept back. So there was a group of people there. And at some point, this guy starts chanting in that, the way that they do, the protesters do, the Free Palestine. Like it's in a cadence where you expect someone to respond. And he's so desperately saying, like in his mind, he imagines that there are thousands of people there cheering him on like he's a hero, and just there's nothing. And it is just so delusional that he thinks, does he think people are going to... Here, watch.
God. No. Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
It's like he says it in the way that you're supposed to when you think 1,000 people are going to repeat it back. Free Palestine! Which is so pathetic. He's sick. He's sick. He's sick. Well, he did it because of this, or he did it left. He did it right. Whatever. Stop it. He did it because he's fucking crazy, you guys. He's crazy, and he had a crazy idea, and he went and he bought a gun, and he acted on the crazy idea. That's all I need to fucking know. It's not like, oh, did you hear about the guy that just randomly shot 2 people in the street? Yeah, before I give you my opinion, how do you vote? What team is he on? Who fucking cares? He's another crazy motherfucker who got a gun and killed 2 innocent people because he was delusional enough to think that that would make some kind of change in this world and that he would be the star of it. Look at these people. Look at these people. These people are these 2 dead kids. They're right out of a goddamn Hallmark movie. They're like rom-com stars. Here, look at these 2. Handsome, smart, good jobs, connected jobs in Washington, D.C. Right, look. Oh, thanks, New York Post. I love the New York Post for content. They do a really good job, but their pop-up game is insane. Look at these 2. They're adorable. And they just came out. It was a Wednesday night. They went to some little thing, some little event, some Washington cocktail event. And as they're walking out, they're shot by some fucking loser. Look at this guy. Look at this young man. Ugh. Thanks, New York Times, New York Post. Look at this guy. He's a world beater. It's not even Jewish. Again, not even Jewish. There he is with the flag of Israel. Yaron, who we're seeing here, he was a very highly regarded, up-and-coming young advisor to the Israeli diplomat, the ambassador to the United States. Excuse me. And Milgram, there she is. Look at her. She's beautiful. She got with the red hair. She's got that. There she is. She ran she put events together there at the Israeli embassy, but she's an American. She's an American citizen. So, all right. Well, there you have it. That happened last night for absolutely no fucking reason, and that there's some fucking weirdo who thinks that he's now. And I bet you there are places online where he is a fucking star, right? Because that's what we do now. We have the ability to create platforms where we can make fucking rock stars are the absolute worst among us. So we do. So somewhere he's being treated in the manner in which he thinks he deserves. All right. So that was in Washington last night. And then a couple hours later, there was a shooting out in front of the CIA headquarters last night. Did you hear about this? Some crazy lady showed up to the headquarters of CIA demanding to be. Here, I'll read it to you. Guards at CIA headquarters shot an individual early Thursday morning in what the agency called a, quote, security incident. A person familiar with the matter has told NBC News. The non-fatal shooting, it was non-fatal, on CIA property occurred hours after officials said 2 Israeli embassy staff members. We just talked about that. There is no evidence that the 2 incidents are linked. Okay, there you go. So we don't have to worry about the CIA thing. They don't think there's any connection. What else do we have here? Guys, I am so sorry. My voice is just trashed. It's like I'm really close to just wrapping this up today because I just I still got to try and do the Diddy thing tonight. Boycott Memorial Day weekend. We're all supposed, we love to, here's what we love in this country. We love to complain about cancel culture, but we also love to be first in line to be a part of cancel culture. So here's our list of things that we need to boycott this Memorial Day weekend. We're boycotting Walmart. Good luck with that Memorial Day weekend. Where are you going to go when you need another slip and slide? Oh, this slip and slide is broken. The kids can't slip and slide in the yard. You're going to Walmart. Good luck. We're going to boycott Target. Apparently, we're boycotting Target, too. Same thing. Water Wiggles. The Water Wiggle's broken. Oh, the kids are having a meltdown. We need to get a Water Wiggle. You're going to Target. I know you're pretending like you're going to boycott, but you're going. And McDonald's. Apparently, we're boycotting McDonald's, too. Shoppers are pausing their spending. Shoppers. Shoppers. Ooh, I like being in groups. I want to be in the group with those shoppers that they're talking about here. So now I'm going to boycott McDonald's too, because I'm one of them. I'm in their group. I'm so desperate to belong. Shoppers are pausing their spending at Walmart, Target, and McDonald's from Tuesday through Memorial Day due to raised prices during one of the busiest holiday sales of the weekend. We're going to show them, right, guys? We're going to show them. Fuck you. Get out of here. Nobody wants this bullshit anymore. We're going to show them power to the people. Oh, shut up. People have no power. The only power that we have is the power that they allow us to pretend we have when we do shit like boycott McDonald's over Memorial Day weekend. Oh, we're such brave people. I wanted a Filet-O-Fish so bad on Saturday, but nope. Power to the people. Oh, shut up. All right, let's get into the important stuff. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, this entire show is based around this next story, because this is the story that next to the Diddy trial, this is the thing that I am watching most closely. Of course, we're talking about Running Man 2025. That's right. Over the weekend, we had 10 convicts escape from prison in Louisiana. They all got out. Whoop, 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 whoop. We saw the video. Did you see the video? You know the video I'm talking about? There was like some security cam video from the loading dock or something at the prison. And there's just video of all 10 of these guys. Whoop, 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 whoop. Just like running. It's funny. One of them bails. You can find it. It's out there. I'm not going to waste your time with it. But that was like on Friday. 10 of them got away. Then they put out the picture. They're like, here's who we're looking for. And then day by day, we've been looking at this picture and we've been crossing people off. And I hope you've been paying attention, because my pick to click, remember, you know who I said was going to be the guy, Jermaine Donald. We looked at all of the different convicts who were still on the loose. There were 6. Now there's 5. There's 5. Remember when we last left off, there were 5 because they caught that Corey Boyd. Look, all I'm going to say is that we looked at all of these pictures of the convicts who were still on the run. We looked at the pictures, and I pointed to Corey Boyd, and I said, he's going to get caught next. My reasoning was he looked retarded. He looked like he was, not all there. And that's the guy I think is going to get caught. Guess who got caught next? Corey Boyd. Then what did I predict? Then I predicted, I went with, what's the dude's name? I think it's Groves, maybe. The dude with the tattoos all over his face. I told you that yesterday. I said, that dude's next up. That dude's going to get caught. There's no way a guy with tattoos all over his face is going to be able to blend in as easily as the rest. I told you they're going to catch that guy too. And again, I said Jermaine Donald. Jermaine Donald will be the Running Man champion. Jermaine Donald will survive. He will outlast everybody else. I don't know if he'll never get caught, but whatever. Jermaine Donald. Why? Because I just looked at Jermaine Donald and I went, that motherfucker is not going back to prison. That dude is going to do whatever it takes. Jermaine Donald is my pick to click, and he's still my pick to click. And guess what? We have an update. Oh, here, wait. I'll show you these guys. I'm loving it. Yeah, all right, here we go. That's a good one. All right, here, yeah, we'll look at the pictures. This will make it easier for us. All right, so here they are. Here are the dudes. They're left. All right. All right, Jermaine Donald. See him? He's right here. This son of a bitch. This guy is not going back to prison. He's going to be your last one caught. All right. Antoine Massey, that's who it was, not Van Buren. It's Massey. Antoine Massey is the dude with the tattoos all over his face. This is the guy who I said is going to be next caught. Well, guess what? We got some breaking news here. Do we have it? Let me find it for you. Here you go. Look at this. Let me show you this. 3 of the escaped guys, 3 of them who are out there in the wind. Well, is that it? This one ain't going to be it. Twitter is giving me trouble. All right, here we go. These 3 have been spotted. And look, just as I predicted, it's Tattoo Guy. Tattoo Guy, Van Buren, and Groves are seen here. I don't know if we can see the full, because this is kind of split. show you the bottom. 3 of the 5. There we go. All right. So here they are. Are they still wearing like prison clothes? I don't know what they're wearing. 3 of the 5 have been seen walking around. They're together. 3 of the 5 are together. Tattoo face guy, who I claimed would be next caught, Lenton Van Buren, and Derek Groves. Those 3 are together. You know what that means? That means that my guy, Jermaine Donald, is still in the wind. Jermaine Donald is not going to get caught. At the very least, I mean, it looks like they got a beat on these 3, right? So that means at the very least, my guy's going to be in the final 2 to get caught. All right, there you have it. Louisiana escapees. If there's anything more, I'll let you know. Let's see. In the United Kingdom, they just passed a law that they're going to chemically castrate pedophiles. Do you think that's a good law? I'm kind of okay with it. Did you know that California already has that law? Whoa, what? That's a pretty right-wing fucking penalty for California. Chemical castration of pedophiles? I'm all for it. I don't know why it's just not what we do. Look, here's the problem. Here's the problem with pedophiles. All right, let's talk about castration. All right, so you chop his dick off so he can't fuck anybody. You know, is that the attitude? Because that's not what it is. That's not what. So if you're a pedophile, that's a head thing, man. You can't fix it. I'm sorry. I know people are like, no, I was in therapy and I'm not a pedophile anymore. No, my friend. No, for some reason in your body, in your biological makeup, blood starts running to your penis when you see a sexy child. I don't even know how to say that. So that's something that doesn't happen with me. And it is something that just, is biologically so unnatural for most people that, we have to just wash our hands of it and say, no, this is a thing in your wiring, in your head that makes you different. It can't be fixed. It can't be fixed any more than like, hey, Pugs, you're just going to be gay now. Like, I'm just going to start like being with a guy. And I mean, I could do it. I could physically do it. You could fake it. But I mean, the real desire to be with a guy, it'll never be there. It won't be like, gee, I really wish that dude would rail me tonight. Like, that'll never be there. Probably fake it, right? So I don't know that. That's why even with like gay, I don't mean to mix all these different sexual peccadillos, but even with like homosexual, where they say like, you can get fixed. No, you can't. No, you can't. You either think, that's fucking hot or you don't, and I don't know that there's any in between. I think it's the same thing with pedophiles. I don't think they can be fixed. I don't think you can fix a guy who thinks a 9-year-old is hot. That is so fucked up. That is like so outside the bounds of what I'm willing to consider as a reasonable, thoughtful person. No, you're broken. So here's the thing. So just taking their dick away from them, that ain't going to do anything because they still got fingers. They can still molest kids. They can still, they still want to do that. No, it's got to be chemical castration. It's got to be where you just don't have a sex drive anymore, where we've learned how to take the sex drive from you. So I'm all for that. You go, UK. But also, if it also includes, because look, when I hear chemical castration, don't you imagine like some naked dude tied to a table? And he's like, no. And then they just got like acid and they pour acid on his dick. That's what I want chemical castration to be, but it ain't that. It's like a series of pills that you have to take. You just start taking pills and all of a sudden your balls shrivel up or something. I might not be right on that, but it's something like that. All right, very good. Let's see here. What will we talk about now? Well, we'll mention this. Why not? Stars! Hey, how about you Dallas Stars? How many of you people bailed in the third period? How many of you people bailed? How many people bailed during the intermission between second and third? You're like, we can't beat Edmonton. That was awesome. That game was incredible. Of course, I say this as somebody who only watched the third period. Hey, I saw like 6 goals. It was awesome. That was great. Go Stars. I told you, as I said last night on Chalk House Dallas, Keith was all nervous. He's like, he's a Stars fan. He's like, oh, this is going to happen. I said, Keith, calm down. I say this with all confidence as a man who on opening day 2 years ago said that the Texas Rangers were going to win the World Series. And they did. I say this to you with all confidence. The Dallas Stars are winning the Stanley Cup. There's not even a doubt. It's not even a doubt. This team has a special mojo that is not going to be defeated. It may make it competitive. It might go, might go full series and stuff like that. But this team will ultimately win the Stanley Cup. You have my word. Dallas Stars. Fuck you, Connor McDavid. Stupid. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? So we got some Stars stuff. We got I don't even want to mention this because I don't want to talk about this guy. But you know the bang guy? You know the bang guy behind the goal, behind the net? He's a Dallas Stars super fan. He always wears like a weird cream-colored suit that's always wrinkled. He looks like he's on a bender. Probably because he is on a bender. That dude is apparently like a chronic DUI dude. And I only say he's a chronic DUI dude because apparently he went to jail for DUI. And if you've got enough scratch in your life that you can have like glass seats for all Stars games and you're going to jail for DUI, that means you've got a bunch of DUIs. That means that your high-paid lawyers can't get you out of it anymore. So that dude, the bang guy, apparently he was missing and now he's back. And people are like, the NHL shouldn't allow him. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, that's a debate that's happening. Not one that I'm interested in having. But if you're a Dallas Stars fan, you might know about that. The bang guy apparently is back and people are upset because he drinks and drives. I mean, I get it. It's terrible. It's terrible. Nobody should do it. But seriously, I mean, with all the things that people are getting away with, now suddenly we're going to double back onto that. But drinking and driving. Ugh. Dead. Here we go. Got another dead guy. Jim Irsay died. Jim Irsay is the owner of the Indianapolis Colts. He's a character. He was one of the biggest characters in the NFL. Everybody knows Jim Irsay. Bit of a train wreck. At least that's kind of what the brand was. The brand was that he was a billionaire playboy kid train wreck. He likes to drink. He likes to party. He likes pretty girls. Sometimes he gets, the aforementioned DUI, And sometimes when he would get his billionaire DUI, they might find some guns in his car, maybe some cocaine, maybe some, I don't know. Here's the thing about Jim Irsay. The legend of Jim Irsay. He's dead, by the way. He died yesterday. You're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody in the NFL who ever had a dealing with Jim Irsay who doesn't talk about how much they love Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay was beloved because he was so different than the other owners. He wasn't all buttoned up. He wasn't, pretentious. He was kind of like a man-child. It's like he never grew up. He died yesterday at 65 years old in his sleep. Well noted in NFL circles. He was suspended for a period of time. He had a drug problem in his younger days. I think the NFL suspended him for maybe him having a drug problem. Crazy situations with like women. He likes young, crazy women because he's an old rich guy. He's not even that old, 65. Point is this. Jim Irsay was a fun dude. And here's a little known fact about Jim Irsay. I know about this because Jim Irsay is he's a character in the Chicago area. Not only does he own the Indianapolis Colts, but he's from Chicago. He grew up in Chicago. He has a home in Chicago. I mean, Indianapolis is just a short drive anyway. He was even famous for a period of time, a number of years ago. He would do a weekly radio show on WXRT, which is a rock station in Chicago. WXRT is not just a rock station. I happen to think it's the coolest programmed rock station in America. Anyway, the XRT jocks had such high regard for him just from knowing him over the years because he would show up to all the shows and all that stuff that they ended up giving him his own show where he turned out to be an encyclopedia of rock and roll history, of rock and roll stories. Jim Irsay could possibly be the world's most interesting man with the kind of life that he has been allowed to live. His dad actually bought the Los Angeles Rams when he was 12 years old. And then he traded teams with the dude who owned the Baltimore Colts. Yeah, so he bought the Rams, and he was like, I'd rather have the Colts, and so he traded with it. Anyway, so he's been like an NFL team owner kid his whole life. He's only worked for the Colts. Pretty good work if you can get it. But let me tell you about the Jim Irsay collection, okay? This is what's widely known among billionaire collectors as being one of the most incredible pop culture collections in the world. Jim Irsay, the man who died yesterday, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, here are some of the things that he owned, okay? That are in his collection. The Jim Irsay collection, main article. Outside of football, Irsay made significant investments in music and memorabilia. With the Jim Irsay collection in 2001, Irsay purchased the original manuscript of On the Road. Kerouac, he's buying original American manuscripts. He bought the original manuscript of On the Road. See here. I don't care about that. In 2018, he purchased an original printing of the 1939 book Alcoholics Anonymous with handwritten notes by Alcoholics Anonymous author Bill Wilson. In 2021, Guitar Magazine characterized Irsay as the owner of the greatest guitar collection on earth. All right, so he's really known for his guitars. Let's talk about the guitars that Jim Irsay bought. Irsay purchased guitars originally owned by Elvis Presley, George Harrison, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Jerry Garcia, Prince, Les Paul, and other notable performers. His purchases have set records. In 2014, he bought the electric guitar that Bob Dylan played at Newport for $1 million. That's probably the most famous electric guitar in rock and roll history, as it is the guitar that is given credit for ushering in the electric era of rock and roll. So that's the Newport guitar. Bought that for $1 million. In 2017, he paid $2.2 million for a Ludwig drum set that Ringo Starr played with the Beatles. On June 20th, 2019, Irsay paid $3.9 million for a guitar known as the Black Strat. This is a guitar formerly owned by Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour. On May 23rd, 2022, Irsay paid a record $4.6 million for the 1969 Fender Mustang played by Kurt Cobain in the music video for Smells Like Teen Spirit. Goes on, in 2023, he acquired the saddle that was used by Secretariat when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. He also purchased the boots that Muhammad Ali wore during his famous Thrilla in Manila. He purchased the volleyball Wilson from the movie Castaway. And he has a collection of letters between significant historical figures that include the likes of Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Thomas Jefferson. The Jim Irsay collection. You're just a rich dude who's just looking to spend daddy's money. That's how you do it. Jim Irsay was a cool guy. Jim Irsay, owner of the Indianapolis Colts, died yesterday at the age of 65 years old. Jim Irsay. All right, what else do we have here? We're going to wrap this up because this is not good. I do apologize, but oh, you know what? Let's watch this. Here you go. Here's another thing we can watch. I saw this going around, and that would be a nice thing to share. So the other day, 2 days ago now, we lost George Wendt. We lost Norm from Cheers. I don't know if you saw this. Somebody put this together. This is so awesome. This is all the Hey Norms from Cheers in honor of the late, great Norm Peterson, a.k.a. George Wendt.
Afternoon, everybody. Norm! How you doing, Norm? What do you know? Not enough. Afternoon, everybody.
Norm!
Norman?
Here, Norm?
I heard of that stuff. Better give me a tall one in case I like it. Afternoon, everybody. Hey!
Norman?
How you doing, Norm?
Cut the small talk and give me a beer. Afternoon, everybody. Hey, Norm! Give me a beer, will you?
How's life treating you, Norm?
I got just ran over its dog. Afternoon, everybody.
Oh.
Norman?
Gentlemen, start your taps. Afternoon, everybody. Oh,
Norm! How's life treating you, Norm?
He caught me in bed with his wife. Afternoon, everybody.
Norm!
Norman?
How's life, Norm?
Not for the squeamish, Coach. Afternoon, everybody.
How's it going, Norm?
Daddy's rich and Mama.
Ah, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. We get it. I guess that's it, guys. Oh no, you know what? I want to show you one more thing. I saw this. I think maybe I shared this on Twitter. But look at the. Okay, you know what? You know how I go off a lot on this like thing that I'm seeing among young men. This like desire to be alpha. You know, I always like to say, there ain't no alphas out there walking around going, I'm alpha, right? You know, it's like being cool. The coolest guy you know would never call himself cool. He would never even think of himself as cool. That's why he's so cool. Alpha. Alpha is not something that you can just fucking, cosplay as. You're either a pussy or you're not. That's really what it is. And unfortunately, about 85% of us fall into the pussy category. There's only a few very real alphas, and you know them when you see them. And I'm going to show you an example of what a real motherfucking alpha looks like. All right, are you ready? Here you go. Let me show you this. This is undeniable alpha. We're going to watch it a couple of times, okay? We're going to break it down. I want you to pay attention to this. Because it also teaches you that being alpha is something that is inherent in you. It isn't about, how much weight you lift or how much time you spend in the gym or whether or not, you're jacked. No, being alpha is a vibe. It's an energy. And when you have it, people respect it. And here's an example of that. There you go. Check this shit out. This is an alpha. All right, so let's break it down slowly, okay? So what we got here are a whole bunch of dogs. It appears to be a dog kennel. Whole bunch of dogs. They're fighting. They're not all fighting. It seems like they're all fighting one dog. This guy right here. This guy seems like an asshole. Why does everybody have a problem with this guy? I don't know. Let's watch. All right, so now here comes the boss to regulate the yard, all right? See this dude right here? See this black cane corso? You know what cane corsos are, right? Cane corsos are the most aggressive dogs on the planet. They're the strongest dogs on the planet. They are freaking scary monster dogs. Okay, so we saw the asshole dog. Watch this again. For some reason, they all think this guy's an asshole, and everybody's starting to fight with him. All right, so here we go, and now here come the regulators, if you will. Let's watch. This is what a fucking alpha is. Okay, did you see that? Did you watch the cane corso? This is what a motherfucking alpha is, because I'm talking about this Benji-looking bitch right here. You see this little run-of-the-mill, everyday, stray motherfucking dog? Look at this cane corso. Get the fuck out of its way and then bow down in the most obvious dog fashion ever. This dog has alpha energy. Watch this shit. Watch one more time. Watch the cane corso. Get the fuck out of this Benji-looking dog's way. Check this out. Oh, shit. Oh, he like immediately bowed down and let this motherfucker pass. Now watch. Watch this boss. This is what an alpha is. Would you look at that shit? That dog that is on its back, showing its belly to the fucking Benji-looking mutt, that dog is the dog that was fighting every other dog in this place. That dog a couple of seconds ago would have fought anybody. Now that dog is on its back. Benji didn't even have to do shit. Benji just showed up. And what's up with that cane fucking corso? What is the backstory on this Benji dog? That everybody is like, don't fuck with that Benji dog. That Benji dog is out of its mind. Watch it again. That's crazy. That dog didn't even have to touch the other dog, and the other dog squealed in horror. Did you hear that dog go? Like the minute Benji shows up and is like, what the fuck is going on here? Oh, that is just complete and total capitulation. To you little leaguers out there, that's what a fucking alpha is. That dude doesn't have a fancy mustache. That dude isn't in the gym all the time. That dude just brings boss energy to every situation he's in. And over the course of time, he doesn't have to walk around going, I'm the fucking alpha, because people know it. People know when you're that guy. And we're not all that guy, man. That's the thing. We got to stop all thinking we're that guy. Almost none of us are. All right, there you go. It's my lesson. My listening. That is cool, though, right? I mean, all kidding aside, with whatever the alpha thing is, that is pretty cool. Like, what is the deal with that dog? Why is that dog so fucking highly regarded? Doesn't look like it. It must be different among dogs. Like humans, like we would think that Cane Corso, like if you were trying to be like a badass and you wanted the most badass dog in the yard, you'd go with that Cane Corso. You probably wouldn't take that, Benji looking mutt dog. But that Benji looking mutt dog among its peers, that's the one they don't fuck with. That's fun. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to go have some tea, and I'm going to watch the rest of the Diddy trial from today, which I think is just about wrapped up. I got to tell you, I love this judge. This judge is keeping a tight ship, man. He is not allowing for any nonsense. This is going to be a 6-week trial. We are getting ready to wrap up the second week here. Every night, Radio Misfits, we do Diddy or Didn't He. So like, follow, subscribe to stay up on all of the events that occur in the courtroom on a day-to-day basis. Today, we had Kid Cudi. Okay, we're all waiting for Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi was on the stand today, and he dropped some bombs. And I'll break them all down and tell you what I think it means for the defense and the prosecution all tonight. RadioMisfits.com. Diddy or Didn't He? Yay! And thank you. I am having fun doing it. It is fun when you find something that you're actually interested in, that you're like passionate about. For some reason, I love the fall of celebrity. Oh, I'm a big fan of chronicling the fall of celebrity. Tip the show if you can. That'd be great. Drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. That's how we keep this show going month to month. Your tip by your tip. No advertisers, no nothing. Just you guys saying, I don't want you to stick around for another month. So help the show out if you can. That'd be great. Other than that, God, seriously, I'm so sorry about this vocal situation. Other than that, I'm out of here. I love you guys. You have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow with more Rant. And don't forget Diddy or Didn't He and Shockhouse Dallas, all available wherever you find the shit that I do. Facebook, YouTube, Pugs Moran, Pugs and Company, whatever. I don't know. I do know this. I'll be back tomorrow. Will you? Bye.